Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Start with clarifying some doubts based on yesterday's discussion. Limitations of example, rope and snake. This example is no doubt helpful. So we all have benefited immensely as and when Bhashkara has quoted this in various instances. But yesterday the topic was on Atma Vichara. So to bring that to light with ease as remaining as reality without the need for any further effort. That was the goal of yesterday's discussion. So to achieve that, we made light of that example. That is the only thing. Not that we know the benefit of that example, but to achieve that yesterday's purpose, we made light of it. So snake and rope, they both are objectively, you can experience them. And one is mistaken for another. You have an objective experience of what is snake and what is rope. So if you look at Aham and Brahman, they are not objectively visible, but subjectively they are experienced. So what we experience as such is only Brahman, which is one without a second. So there is no scope for anything. For anything to exist other than Brahman. So Brahman alone is there as pure existence, and it is there in our experience too. In Sushupti, Satyeva Saumya Idamagram Asi. Then what is happening in waking up? That only is there as all the appearances. So there is nothing that happened to that Sat. Sat alone was there earlier, Sat alone is there now, and that is in the experience of everybody based on a Sushupti experience. But as we wake up, instead of appreciating Brahman as such, we assume ourselves to be this body-mind apparatus, that is an individual. Why this happened? Where did this sense of individuality come from? As prior, it was not there. Only Sat is there. Then where did this individuality come from? From where? There is no scope for individuality. There is only non-duality earlier. Then it follows that here also there is nothing other than the non-dual self. Then where did this individuality come?
आने की कोई चांस ही नहीं है, लेकिन एक इसको कैसे बोलते
हैं? It's just a false notion.
So truth is, it has not come from anywhere. It has not come from anywhere. See, then what is it as such? What is that then? If it has not come from anywhere, then what is it? If you have to answer straight, the straight answer is nothing. It is nothing, we are saying. Okay. Then what is there in that nothingness? That's all. What is there in that nothingness? If you are insisting for an answer as to what is there, nothing means what? What is there? What is there in that nothingness? It is only conscious existence without any limitations. And for that only, the name that we are using is Brahman. So what is there is only that. There is nothing apart from that. Then if you ask, if it is not there, then why am I experiencing it?
The experience भी झूठ है.
So we were saying, based on last 3 days, who has Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata, if he attempts to see what it really is, then what will he see? His only duty is, who has these two, to see whether, to verify whether that is actually there or not. That's all we are saying. There is no other sadhana, we are saying. You see if it is really there. It is there in your experience, you see, we are saying. So this is only called Atma Vichar, like as you told. Only because of absence of this the whole thing is. So then here, the only thing to do is Atma Vichar for such an individual who is capable of that. Then he will find out experientially that there is no individuality. Atma Vichar, that is inquiry. When you initiate that, what you assume to be Atma, that is non-self, you will see that it was never there. It is only an assumption. And at that very moment you will know, you will recognize what is always there is only the real self. That is Paramatma. That's why the names also they have given like that. One is Anatma, it is not your real self. And other is Paramatma, that is the only thing in reality. That supreme self. Okay. Because we have not acknowledged what is there means that is Brahman. We are told to initiate this self-inquiry. Otherwise, even that is not needed. We cannot mistake that with another, with this Brahman, with anything other than that, because we have no experience as such of another in the first place to confuse with. We are not giving a scope. That's what we are trying to do. We are not giving a scope for this to miss this recognition. We are saying you cannot confuse Brahman with anything because there is nothing other than Brahman. If you are assuming that anything is there, then you inquire if it is really there. That's it. So that is what yesterday we are trying to do. Then where is the problem if you ask? We have not acknowledged what is always there. Hence we assumed so many things. So in the example we have not recognized rope, so we imagine what all we have experienced earlier. See, not all will appreciate a rope, a snake. Some can appreciate instead of rope, they can appreciate a garland, a water, or a fissure in the ground, like this. What all they have seen earlier, in that dim earlier, that they are seeing now or assuming to see because of that dim light. But we are saying you cannot do that with aham because that was not there. And you have not experienced. I have experienced to see if it is there really in your experience. Yes. No, it is not there. That is the end. Over. So we have not recognized this infinite conscious existence. So we imagined it as something which we have not experienced till then. See, we have to understand how easy this is. We are saying that instead of that I have appreciated this. Do you have experience of that? We are asking. To whom we are asking? To only who has this Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata. To him. The name we gave for something which we have not experienced till now as such is Aham. Aham is what? Not that something which is there, which we have not experienced, we are assuming it to be there. For that we gave the word Aham. This Aham is such a silly thing when inquired. The most silliest thing. When a proper inquiry is initiated by a competent seeker. Okay. So it is to only to make clear of this that example of rope and snake was discussed in a lighter vein. Yes. Okay. So yesterday we discussed how to evaluate our Atma Vichar, and we have that is a self-evaluation whether the Atma Vichar is on the right track or not. Whether the Atma Vichar is fruitful or not, how can you self-evaluate ourselves? So Bhagavan gave us 3 slokas. By using that we can evaluate. If our Atma Vichar is fruitful, then there will be unwavering peace within. And it cannot be challenged by anything external. By no object, by no emotion, or even anybody, even the people around cannot challenge that understanding. So this is like 2 sides of a coin. On one side there is peace, and that peace cannot be disturbed. That is the other side. The peace cannot be disturbed by anything. That's all. If you know whether we all know whether our vichara is fruitful, if you remained as that peace which cannot be challenged by anything at the realm of manifestation. Okay. So how was your Atma Vichar? What's your feedback? You were told yesterday as homework to engage in Atma Vichar.
ये अभी तक पेड़ का पत्ता डाल काट रहा था, आपने जड़ के साथ उसको खड़ के फेंक दिया तो फिर उधर कुछ दिखता नहीं, जो है वो है.
So you are good. You are inspired to engage in Atma Vichar.
Yeah.
You are able to remain as Prashanti with the background.
Yeah, it is there. Once we initiate the inquiry, then Aham has no place.
Correct.
It's just like that.
And there is no scope for it to arise to. If it has...
This thing can be tested in the turbulent surface only. And everything is quite like this. It cannot be known. This is my experience. I don't know about others.
But the mind is the same. It's an external thing.
Turbulence, external attacks are there. That time, how much we are able to keep quiet, how much we are able to withstand that onslaught of that prarabdha, whatever you call it. That time, if we are able to stay like this, what we are now, with our understanding, is real.
So,
Because
if there is something that is challenging this, then we need to find out the cause for that.
No. There is no challenge actually. But for a while, we will be taken and sucked into that. That's not good. Of course, this teaching will come, it will resolve the problems immediately. But we should test ourselves putting like that.
No, test is always there. Because whatever is bound to come, that is there in us even now. In a seed form. And the seed form of that is ignorance. So what is the cause for that is, as per our last two discussions, only two things. That is Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata. So remedy lies in developing this Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata. So if you ask this discussion, if it is presented to Bhagavan, he is only giving us methods to develop this Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata in the next 10 verses. Because the topic as such is over with this. For one who has Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata. But if there is any deficiency to any extent, then we will not be content with this teaching. So then what should we do? You see that you have adequate Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata. How? Then Bhagavan is giving the next 10 slokas only for that.
Because I am not a Kutopasaka, first of all. All back entry to the Vedanta.
Whatever.
That is why it's naturally going to happen, all these things. I know, inevitable. But at the same time, I have all the weapons to take care of that. It's also the confidence. But the Jnani, who are totally established in that, his way of interacting will be something different always. I have seen Swami Sthitaprajnananda, Amma herself. I have not much seen, but I have observed from this place. Something different there, the way they are interacting. That quality of interaction has not come to me. They'll accept.
So here we have only one thing, whether that contentment, that prashanti is there in the background without being affected. That's it. If it is affected right now, or if you have any anticipation that it needs to be tested, or it may get affected, then what to do? For that, Bhagavan is giving the next 10 slokas. But if any of you feel that it is not challenged and it cannot be affected, then for you, it is over here. But otherwise, then the next 10 slokas. Sloka 10, let us chant. Yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi sthitaha ekakiyata chittatma nirashera parigraha. So, if you are unable to initiate Atma-vichar and remain as reality, that is our real nature, then what should we do? We need to practice concentration constantly. So, yunjita satatam atmanam. So, what is needed for that? You need to exercise control over the body and mind, yata chittatma. Why? They both are mutually dependent on each other. So Bhagavan here is insisting you to go to a solitary place. Ekaki rahasi sthitaha. For good utilization of that solitary place, Bhagavan is advising to go there without any mental expectations and physical possessions also. Nirashi aparigraha. First, the advice is Bhagavan is very compassionate. He told what needs to be done. But if you are not satisfied still, he is all the more compassionate. He is telling what to do. So you go to a solitary place, he is saying, without any expectations from anybody and anything. What to do in that solitary place? Next sloka. Suchau deshe pratishtapya sthiramasanamatmanaha natyushritam nati nicham chailajana kushottaram. You select a clean, safe place and place your asana, your seat, for you to sit comfortably. Sit there comfortably. What should he do on that comfortable asana? Next. Tatraikagram manakritva yatachittendriya kriyaha upavishyasane yunjat yogamatma vishuddhaye. Should strive to acquire what you will lack. That is chitta shuddhi, chitta ekagrata. That's what he is saying here. Tata chittendra kriyaha with ekagrata. Ekagram manakrutva. For what? Atma vishuddhaye. That's all. He made it very clear. Chitta shuddhi and ekagrata, he said. So, to remind this chitta shuddhi and chitta ekagrata, Bhagavan is mentioning it again and again about its importance. So if you, as you mentioned, if you say that, okay, I have not initiated any effort for that, Bhagavan is saying, okay, now you do that. Based on this knowledge, you say. Yogam Atma Vishuddhaye. Why we need to remember this is so that we are focused on the purpose of sitting in that solitary place. So why we are going to the presence of any Mahatmas or to solitary place or anywhere is only for these two. Ekagrata and Chitta Shuddhi. That's all. To keep that goal always with us, Bhagavan is insisting here on these two. So he mentioned it in this sloka itself. How to sit to achieve Chitta Shuddhi and Ekagrata, that is told in verse 13. Samam kaya shiro grivam dharayanna chalastiraha samprekshyanasikagram swam dishasyanavalokayan. Sit straight and still with focus within. It looks easy to focus outside as we are in that habit since childhood, focusing outside. So now we are trying to focus within. Then what will happen? It appears to be difficult because it looks as though we are fighting against the current. We are swimming against the current of the tides. So it will be very difficult. The extroversion is like a habit. Now he is saying introvert. So how to do that? Bhagavan said go to some place, put asana, all that is fine. And sit straight, that is also okay. But now he is telling go within. Don't focus outside. Be focused within. How to achieve that? He is giving hints in the next sloka. प्रशांतात्मा विगतभि ब्रह्मचारी व्रते स्थितः मनः संयम्य मच्चित्तो युक्त आसीत मत्परः. So when we focus within, what is bound to happen is all the dormant samskaras can become active. If we make it as a habit, not once in a while, if we go to Kumbh Mela and sit, or go to somewhere and sit for a while, but if you make it as a habit, then naturally all the dormant samskaras will surface up. They will become active. Why they are becoming active when you are sitting? If you are not into this habit, then they are anyway very active. You only have not noticed. They will propel you to engage in action also. So all the samskaras, they come up as thoughts, and the thoughts, they will slowly mature into some particular desire. Then you will employ your mind, your body, and your whole being to pursue those desires and accomplish whatever dictates your samskaras are giving you. But if you refrain from that, then they will build up inside. They will start building up because they want to express outside, but you have not allowed. So then you are knowing them. Even otherwise they are only ruling you. But now you are conscious because you have not allowed that to translate to action. Then you are knowing it, what is all happening, what is all there. The whole process is becoming clear to us. Okay. So here, so the dormant samskaras will become active and they surface. And what will surface, that will vary from person to person. So most common ones are what? For thoughts usually that are related to the opposite sex, based on this context. That is lust, related thoughts. So if you are troubled by them, Bhagavan here is advising us to remind ourselves that we are sannyasis and have taken the vow of brahmacharya. Brahmachari vrate sthitaha. So the mind can play a game with you. You fellow, you won't listen what I tell you to do, and suddenly it will, then immediately enough, and you get up and at least do some seva. So here he is telling, no, brahmachari vrate sthitaha. You remind yourself, Bhagavan is saying. So as we transcend everything, that mind is habituated to hold on. So you have transcended. You have transcended all these thoughts by reminding yourself, as Bhagavan said, that you are a sannyasi, a brahmachari. Now what to do? All the thoughts are giving way. Then the next thing is, there is a chance for you to develop fear. Fear. What? I will be happy now that all the thoughts have gone away? No. You may develop fear. Why? When the modifications of the mind, if they are not entertained, they slow down. And as they slow down, the ego, which is thriving on them, what will happen to that? It gets threatened. So as the thoughts flow is there, then the ego is surviving. Just like the devatas survive on the sacrificial fire, based on the thoughts you entertain, the ego will survive. So when there are these thoughts about, like earlier what we discussed here, if there are thoughts about the lust, then the ego will, the ego is still there because you are worried about these thoughts. Then you initiate something to handle those thoughts, again the ego only. So anyway, it is getting food in one form or other. Now the thoughts have come down. Then the ego, suddenly it is deprived of its food. So then there is a fear. What is this fear? You are in a way face to face with that impending doom. Means it is going to get extinguished. The ego knows that now you are up to extinguish it, completely eliminate it. So there is a fear. That is again a thought generated, which is nourishing this ego. But what will happen now? Nothing, then I may go away. So there is a fear. Fear of nothingness. How can nothingness cause fear?
Midnight.
No, every time when you are habituated to objects, then nothingness will cause immense fear. It's the same thing in the mind. When there are no thoughts, that can give rise to fear. That's why Bhagavan here is saying to be fearless and peaceful. Prashantatma vigatabi. Be fearless, he's saying. Prashantatma. And be peaceful. How can we be peaceful? Manas samyamya machitto. By making the mind focused on the reality. What if the mind does not focus on reality? Yukta asita matparaha. Then you need to counsel the mind. Don't be fearless, you be peaceful. So it's very easy to tell. How can I achieve that? You focus on the reality. How do I focus on the reality? I also want to focus, but the mind is not. So he's saying, matparaha. You counsel that mind, that reality on which we are trying to concentrate is the supreme goal. Why is reality considered to be the supreme goal? Why? Immediately the mind will ask, now what is that supreme? Why reality alone is you are considering it to be the supreme goal?
It's me. The nature of me.
But that itself may not help. We'll see what Bhagavan will say. Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyatamaanasaha shantim nirvana paramam matsamstam adhigacchati. This reality alone is the supreme goal of everybody. That is, whether they are there in this path or not. What is that reality? Shantim nirvana paramam matsamstam adhigacchati. It is the peace or happiness. That's all. If you say you focus on reality, then it may rebel. But you know what is that reality? That is Shanti only. That is only your goal. Anyway, you want that only. And what we are saying, you focus on that only, we are saying. You want that and you cannot focus on that. Bhagavan is indirectly questioning. No, I want that. So I will focus on that. That should be the counseling that mind needs, Bhagavan is saying. Okay. What is that reality? It is the peace or happiness. We need to remind ourselves that our goal is this Shanti. And that can be obtained only when the extroverted tendencies in the mind are restrained. That is the only goal, and that you can have access to it when these extroverted tendencies. What are these extroverted tendencies? You do not want that earlier. That's all. You do not want this real peace. That is behind all the extroverted tendencies. So now you are saying your mind, no. Why you wanted all the other things other than, why your mind is entertaining all other thoughts is because you assume that you are going after peace. But no, there is no real peace. The real peace is there in what I am undertaking now. So to whom we have to say all this? To ourselves, to our own mind. So you counsel your mind, Bhagavan is saying. Okay. Mind is free to vacillate wherever it desires. Till you sit there. But once you are sitting in the name of meditation, you will not allow that earlier habitual vacillation of the mind. For a long time we have let it free to vacillate wherever it desires. So when you try to control, it will rebel with all its might. Then what to do? Counsel, that's all. Letting the mind know that in controlling itself lies the peace that it is craving for. This self-counseling is important for those who desire success in this path of meditation or yoga. Self-counseling. For a yogi, this mind control is not a part-time affair. That's why Bhagavan is mentioning here, Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi niyata manasaha. So here yogi is up to control the mind. So, and this is not a part-time affair. When you are sitting for meditation, the time you are there for yourself. But even then, and you wanted peace. You wanted peace and you are sitting for yourself to get that peace and it is not possible. Then what to do, you are saying. Then you are telling, you counsel the mind that what it wants is peace and that it can achieve only by restraining these extroverted tendencies that are getting active within the mind when you are sitting for yourself.
That phase I think we have crossed. Otherwise, in transaction itself, it is showing the problems of my own problems. Sitting itself, how it will naturally catch things.
No, sitting is more difficult. Because that's what I mentioned earlier. When you are active in one form or other, the desires are manifesting. Here, they are getting suffocated.
No, because the moment you recognize that, it diffuses immediately.
So
that's what I'm telling you. Constantly, when we are meditating also, when we are in transaction also, as and when I recognize that, it simply diffuses.
Now, if it doesn't, then what to do? That's why. If there is no problem, then there is no solution. So here there is a problem. So for that problem, solution is given. What is that solution? To tell the mind. So here you should not take the best of your meditative sessions. You have to take the worst of your meditative sessions. So the strength of the chain is in its weakest link. So we are trying to address that weak link here. What is that? You have to remind yourself. So Bhagavan is saying, Yunjanneva sadatman yogi niyata manasa. That his goal is peace. Then the path he has to pursue as a habit for that is mind control. And this mind control is not easy during the time of meditation if the body is not disciplined. Regularly meditate, because see, now I am talking to all sannyasis who are full time into this. Okay? With Shravana, you can recognize the truth. There is no need of further any sadhana. So whether that has happened If you say no, then what scriptures, Guruji, everybody, what they will tell, do manana also. Whether the mind will allow you to engage in manana, or it is only trying you be satisfied with Shravana, then sometimes I will do manana. Sometimes it will not help. You have to do it regularly, it is said. What is manana? Not apart from Shravana. What we have collected in Shravana, that will propel us automatically. Without the aid of external sound, the impressions generated by what you heard are acting within and taking us and forcing us to remain as what we really are. That is second. Then the third, if you are that, why do you need any external sound or even your internal manana? You remain as you are without any effort. That is nididhyasana. Will the mind allow for that nididhyasana? It will tell you hear this, you hear this. If you tell no, then it will tell okay, you do some manana. So some of the tendencies in the mind are not allowing you to remain as your real nature. So you're not even able to set apart a time for being yourself without any aid. So to that mind we are addressing. You counsel that mind. What you want actually is not to be a professional satsang listener, nor a professional manana undertaker. Then to remain as your real nature. That is what. And the real peace lies there. Because the real self and the peace are synonym. Now why are you not doing that? You need to do that. So who should tell this? We should tell ourselves. So like this we can take this discussion. For this group, for this discussion to be more meaningful, it is better if you take it like this. Okay. So the body also need to be disciplined, you are saying. If you have to spend time for this, to restrain the extroverted tendencies, then the body needs to be disciplined. Why? Because both are interdependent. The mind will affect the body and the body's activities will affect the mind. So to regulate the mind, the activities of the body need to be regulated by default. Otherwise it is not possible. So in the next two slokas, Bhagavan is aiming to regulate this psychosomatic apparatus. Natyashnasastu yogosti nachaikatma manashnataha nachati swapnashilasya jagruto naiva charjuna yuktahara viharasya yuktacheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. So three things are brought to focus here by Bhagavan. What? Activity, food, sleep. We know that all these three are interdependent. Hence regulating one needs regulating all. So if you have to regulate one of them, then you need support from the remaining also. So I want to regulate activity, then even the food. If you are bringing down your activity, your food also should come down accordingly. No, I will eat enough food. Then you will also get enough sleep or more than required sleep. And even the activity also accordingly. So if you have to regulate all. Because they all are interdependent. And without doing this, mind control is impossible, he's saying. Because these all are related. Sleep and waking. So you should be a regulation in your waking and your sleep also. So Bhagavan is suggesting path of moderation here. That's all. Don't go into extremes and spoil the whole apparatus. If you wish to achieve success in this path of meditation, then you need to have a path of moderation. So if this is not followed, the yoga which we have undertaken all this spirituality to get what? To get peace. But if you don't do exactly as it is told, you won't get peace. On the contrary, what you will get? You'll get sorrow. Not that you won't get peace.
Peace will go to pieces.
But if you do like this, then you will be free of sorrow. Yoga bhavati dukkha. If you do like this only, the yoga what you have initiated will end this sorrow. So meditation implies regulation of mind. That will start with regulation of body. Regulation of body alone is not yoga, as it is popular nowadays. So here we are talking, first we are speaking about the regulation of mind. Then we are trying to pay attention even to the body. So if you do only with the body, then that is another problem. Then you have not even entered yoga. Okay. What is this regulation of mind that is told in the next sloka? Yadha vinayatam chittam atmanyevavatishtate nispruhas sarva kamebhyo yukta ityuchyate tatha. What are we supposed to do in meditation? This we will discuss. The earlier thing I need not discuss. Regulation of food, sleep and activity. That you might have already spoken about this to your disciples and your devotees. So I need not tell on this. So here we will look at this. What are we supposed to do in meditation? Vinayatam chittam, we are saying. Control the movement of mind. So you have to restrain the habitual wandering of the mind. So to put in very simple terms, do not entertain thoughts. That's all. Straight. Don't entertain thoughts. Will they stop? Because we are attempting, will the mind, will it stop? Will it stop? For a moment, because of your will and respect on you, the mind may be still for a moment. For a moment. That's why you can see, no? Let us meditate for a moment, they will tell. So for a moment it will follow your command. Because anyway you said it is only a moment. So it will tell, okay, let this fellow sit still for a moment. Later I will take care of him. So what we are saying, the desires later, which are latent within, they will start. And they only will take shape in the form of thoughts. See, our own desires, means we desired so many things. So fulfilled desires, unfulfilled desires, both are problem. Unfulfilled, so you need to fulfill, so they will arise as thoughts. So you have fulfilled. With a sense of ego, you have fulfilled. Then that is also the satisfaction which you have, that will again give rise to thoughts. So all are desires. So there is no difference between them. So desire, in a very nascent way, as an innocent way, when it presents, it will come as thought. But why this thought has come, if you trace it back, it will go to desire. If you want, you can take it as an exercise.
Yeah.
So if a thought comes, you try to trace that back. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go. And then finally it will come as somewhere you will stop, then that is the desire. So that is the desire that has given rise to these thoughts. But one thought, if you say, where is the desire? There is no desire, you will think. That why this thought has come, then one more thought is there. Why that has come, one more thought. And if you go back, desire. So because we are into this path of Advaita, we will stop here. Because there are some paths where they go into previous life also to find out why this thought has come. So we are not advising that. Here what we are doing, when you try to restrain the thoughts, they will cease for a while, but again they will come back because of these desires. So how do we eliminate them? Nispruha sarva kamebhyo. So we are saying when you are sitting for yourself and trying to restrain these thoughts, then you said that my goal is peace. As Bhagavan said, we are reminding ourselves. And for that, we need to be free of these thoughts. Okay, the mind said. Then, but again the thought is coming. Now what should we do? He's saying, you recognize their arrival. That is first thing. Don't be taken for a ride. First you recognize that they have arrived. That recognition itself will arrest them. Why? Because you have counseled the mind already. Your aim is peace. These are disturbing the peace. So if you want to be peaceful, you be free of them, you have already counseled. So that will work for a while. So as you recognize, then the mind will immediately, it will get active inside. Oh, I am losing that peace. So it will refrain. So you recognize them first. And then, but even then if they are coming, you be indifferent to them. Ignore them. Then what will happen? If you ignore somebody, some person has come, you ignored him. What did he do now? Your devotee has come. He came with some packet, something. So basically you are fully involved here and we ignored him. What did he do?
He'll go somewhere.
Yeah, he went away. He went away now. Yes? Same thing here. The thought will come. Then you ignore. Till now, whenever thought came, you invited that thought. And immediately you implemented. So now it is a very unusual environment it is facing. So it is giving you a thought, not that we have recognized that it has come and then ignored. What will happen? If you ignore the thought, it will die in shame. It will give way. No more thought. It has to, because it was insulted. So it will cease. Okay. Good. Good news, no? But till when should we do this? Yuktaha Atmani eva avatishtate. Till you remain absorbed in yourself. That is as your real nature. Okay. But how do you know if you have absorbed in your real nature? In your real self or not? So that is explained. Explained with an illustration. Next sloka. Yadha deepo nivatasto ningate sopama smrutha yogino yata chittasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. So we all know that a lamp that is kept in the open, where there is a movement of wind, what will happen to it? it will flicker. And if there is no wind, when the movement of the wind has ceased, it will still glow, but without a movement. Without flickering, it will be still. So, when there is movement of wind, it will flicker. And when there is no movement, what will happen? What will happen? Now what did I say? It will not flicker. One more way of telling is, when there is movement, it flickers. When there is no movement, it will remain as it is. So it remains as it is when there is no movement of wind, and when there is movement of wind, it will flicker. Got it? When there is no movement, it will remain as it is. So this is very important. When thoughts are there, fine. When there are no thoughts, what will happen? How do we relate this example to this topic of discussion? Thought implies what? Objects. Thought means what? Object. As thought, will there be a thought without an object? Something or other is there as an object for it to dwell on. Whether external or internal, whatever it is, some object in some form is there for a thought to survive. Okay. Reality that we attribute to the objects, that is the fuel for the vacillation of mind. So if you give reality to the object, then there is fuel for the mind. When the thoughts about the objects are ignored, then the reality status is deprived. Then they will begin to cease. It has come and you ignored. Then the reality which we have attributed earlier, that is being deprived of. Then they will cease. So what will happen with this? The mind will no longer remain as the mind. It cannot be a mind anymore. The mind without movement of these thoughts. There are no thoughts. So there is no movement of thoughts. So there is no mind only. That example is clear, no? So the same way here also, the wind is there and the lamp is flickering. So here too, if you give reality status to the objects, then the thoughts will continue to thrive. But if that is removed, then what will happen? Thoughts will cease. Then what is there? Then when there is no movement of thoughts, then there is no longer mind. Then what is there? There, what is there? The lamp alone is there. Here what we are saying is only the self alone is there. Correct? There the flame is glowing, you said. The flame is without any flicker, you said. And then the flame is there, you said. But here the mind should remain. Mind. So, okay, the objects are there, objects are removed. So the mind should be there. You are saying self. Where did the self come from? You will say. Means extrovert mind is the world. If the mind becomes introvert, that only is the self. There is nothing like mind, we are saying. There is, because if we missed the mind, then the self, then this mind is there. So when the mind is still, what is there is self. So further, it is elaborated in the next sloka. Yatra paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmanatmanam pashyanyatmani tushyati. So when the mind means vrittis or thoughts, if they have ceased through the practice of yoga, what remains? in that experience is the self. It is awakening to itself and rejoicing in itself. Say, Atman Atmanam Pashyanyatmani Tushyati. It is as figuratively to say, it is waking up to itself. So it is eager to wake up to itself and rejoice in itself. But we are engrossed in these thoughts. So its nature itself is peace. Now you wanted peace, and only one thing you need to do, restrain the flow of thoughts. Then it is as though it has awakened to itself and it is rejoicing in itself. So this is a pure experiential declaration, this part. Till here, Bhagavan brought us till this point. But this is a declaration which we have to declare ourselves through our own experience. So then, especially these 10 slokas will not be complete if you don't experience this right now. So we'll spend some time in meditation. 1 minute meditation. Later you can close your eyes. So our senses in the form of sound, there are a lot of inputs coming in now. So you ignore all those inputs. The thoughts generated from all those sounds, we ignore them. Then there are thoughts which are arising from within. Don't perceive them. If they arise, recognize them, ignore them. Recognize the absence of all those thoughts. What is there in that absence? You are conscious of that absence. Conscious of absence means there is only that consciousness. There is only that existence of that consciousness without any limitations. Another name for that is peace. So we remain as peace itself. Fine. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.